What is good, boys? Welcome back to another episode of the Earth-2 MyNBA series. Thank you for everyone who voted. So as you can see in the background, we are starting off with the Houston Rockets. So just before we get started, I wanted to thank everybody for their support, hoping this is going to be a big year with 2K24. So with that said, there's no pressure, but if you do enjoy, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like and even subscribe. And even more so, I would love a comment just so we can start some dialogue and have a chat. That really means a lot to me. So let's get into it. So as we said in the voting, we will be starting here with the Rockets. Now, I do plan to keep Ralph and try to build around him. He's already an 86 at 23, which is really nice. Outside of him, not many plans for many of these guys. So I think it's going to come down to drafting now. As I said, we are starting with the Michael Jordan draft class. You can see here, there's obviously Mike, there's Hakeem. We probably want to stay away from that just because that did happen in real life. John Stockton could be fun as well. For future drafts, we're going to have a wheel of all the most famous / best draft classes in NBA history, and we're going to spin that each year, so it's really different. We're going to get a really good mix of players. Now, just before we go any further, I do see a lot of chatter on Twitter / Reddit / YouTube about how bad this game is. Now, I want to address that. I'm not one of those people, one of those YouTubers, I guess, who are going to say, oh, it's the best 2K ever, blah, blah, blah. But I do want to sort of stay objective and give them credit where it's due. So I am having a lot of fun when it comes to the actual gameplay itself, and maybe that's a little bit skewed because a lot of the things I do here are in my eras. But even in my own time, when I'm just playing, the single player and just having fun, with friends and that sort of stuff, I think the gameplay feels really good. The pro play stuff is really nice. It feels really natural. The shooting's good, at least in offline. I haven't really dabbled in online too much. And as I said, the experience here is, it's always pretty good. It's just a couple of things that you would like them to add, but it's still fine in the my eras. So having fun with that as well. Now, with all that said, the microtransactions are the worst they have ever been, and that is absolutely doing my head in, man. Both my career and my team, it's getting out of control. Now, I sort of hope this does go the way of Star Wars Battlefront. If you're familiar with that, how just EA got so greedy, governments had to step in and sort of create new laws. I sincerely hope that happens because it should be illegal. How much 2K is trying to milk everybody for, it's just absolutely crazy. So yeah, please don't get it confused. I am definitely on your side, on the side of the consumer, but I do think the gameplay is pretty fun. I'm having much more fun with gameplay than I did with 2K23, but that's just me. You're entitled to your own opinion. So I think just to start off with, we are going to go ahead and put Ralph Sampson on the untouchable list. Ultimately, he's 23 years old. He's a 7'4" center power forward at a 4-star value there. Now, guys like Robert Reed, he's already 28 years old. He's only at a 77 overall, so he can definitely go there. 78 overall, pardon me. And now I'm not super familiar with a lot of these guys. Obviously, I know Elvin Hayes, but he's sort of at the end of his career here. He's 37, he's still a 75, so I guess if a team was interested in him to help them compete, I would definitely consider moving him. Rodney McRae, don't know much about you, but you are 22 years old at a 78 overall, so we can definitely keep you. Craig Elo's here, he's only 22. That's pretty funny. The rest of those guys are fine. So I think what we want to do is we want to make sure, so Ralph already has a really high shot tendency. We can even make that a 99 because really he has no help. And I think for this first year, we're gonna try and tank. We're not supposed to use that word, but I think that is probably the best option that we have. So let's go ahead and see this first game against the Spurs. So they have Artis Gilmore, George Gervin, so we know what that's about. Let's go ahead and sim this game here, and we lose. Okay, cool. So that is a 10-point loss for us. Ralph Sampson with 26 and 10. That's what we want to see, and 6 blocks. That's beautiful. George Gervin has 32. So as I said in the last episode, we'll do about 3 seasons per team in this series, and then we'll move on. So we don't have to necessarily make each team a championship team in those 3 years because that's not really realistic. But I guess just based off the team we use, make sure they're going in the right direction for that team. In case you guys didn't notice, I did get a haircut and shaved, so it is starting to warm up here in Australia. Getting ready for that. So next up here, we have the Pacers, who don't look like the greatest team here, at least on paper. So we will simulate this one. We'll see if we can get a win here. We get offered a trade here. Let's have a look what this looks like. So it's Robert Reed, who we did put on the block. He's 28. And hilariously, the trade is actually from the Pacers. So they're jumping on our Robert Reed offer already. He's on our block. For George Johnson, who is a little bit younger, he's 26, and they would also give us a 64 overall. I'm not interested in that, but if you wanted to do something like this and then also throw in a pick. Now in the first game, Robert Reed looks elite, so he put up 19 on very good shooting. I don't know if he warrants, so I don't know if Robert Reed would be worth a first round pick here. You can see he has 11 badges, George has none. So I'm gonna see if they'd give us 2 seconds as well. I would consider that. They'd want Steve English and one of my seconds. I don't want to do that, so how about instead we just take this second round pick from, is that San Diego? What do they say to this? They want one of my seconds, and then they want to swap Gary for Alex. So essentially, they don't want to give me any sort of draft capital, which is okay. Let's see if they'll give us a future second way down the track, and they agree to that. Cool, so we'll do that. As I said, he wasn't really in my plans going forward, and we can go ahead and get George. He's a little bit younger anyway. So now we do actually have them up here next. I wonder if they'll be starting him. It also gives us a chance to start Craig Elo, and it looks like he's slotted in it there too. So I guess that is a good trade for them, and they beat us. I bet he went crazy, didn't he? Reed, he had 12 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 50% from the field, so that's good for them. Reed, if you know, you know. That's pretty funny. Ralph with 26, 8 and 1. All right, I'm not going to keep you for all of these games because that's kind of pointless. So I'm going to keep it moving. If anything crazy happens, I'll stop and let you know. Or if we decide to make a trade at the deadline to get rid of anyone else. But until then, let's hope for the tank. I mean, the higher the draft pick, the better this season. So we'll see how we go. I'll be back shortly. And just kidding, before I can do anything, it is 8 to 10 weeks of new injury. That is tough, man. He was actually our starting small forward. So, I mean, that is a little bit rough 2 games into the season. I mean, he wasn't great anyway, so maybe it doesn't really matter that much. Gives George Johnson there a chance to start, and it moves Elvin Hayes' old self into our 6-man role. So definitely someone else I'd be interested to move this season. We'll see if it makes sense for anyone to take him. You can see we are starting off 0-3. The Nuggets are 3-0. That's kind of crazy. Well, that's pretty cool. The 2K times, I've never seen that before. That is really cool, actually, 2K. Huge W there. I really like that. The period-specific newspaper. That's awesome. All right, I'm going to keep it moving. I'll be back shortly. All right, and this is actually perfect. I just got off of this trade from Philly, so it's their unprotected first-round pick for Elvin Hayes, which he goes to a contending team with Moses Malone, Julius Erving. We get a first-round pick, and whoever this, I'm assuming, auto-generated dude is, definitely Timothy Stewart from Greece. Lovely. So let's go ahead and accept that. All right, man, just at the deadline, couple things I want to note. I loaded in a custom user draft class for this 84 year so we can get Chuck in there. I felt like it was only right. And similarly, I added 87 to the wheel, which you'll see in a bit, just so we can get Reggie Miller in here as well at some point. Now, in a crazy turn of events, we're somehow the 9 seed. We're 17 and 23. See, the Warriors are the worst team there, and then the Pacers on the other side. So I was curious. I went in here, and it must just be Ralph, because dude is averaging 22, 10, and 2 blocks on 50% shooting. And then the rest of our guys, you know, they're okay. This guy's pretty efficient. This Alan Leavell is pretty efficient here, 50 from 3. But he's only putting up 12 points and about 7 assists. How many threes did you actually take? He's taken 6. Nice. And then you've got Craig Elo, who's putting up about 10. Rodney McRae about 10. So it really must just be off of Ralph's scoring and his defense. So that is a little bit scary. It means we probably won't get the highest pick in the world in this draft, which, if they're all going to be great, it doesn't matter too much, but we do also want to start off with a pretty decent duo. So I'm just thinking, is there anybody else I want to sell on? Now, Allen's actually been a pretty good point guard. Very good, actually. 8 assists per 36 on only 1.9 turnovers a game. And he's efficient, so we can keep him. He's only 26 years old. Craig Elo's only 22. So I think we did offload most of the older guys. I mean, Caldwell Jones here, he's putting up about 7, 11 per 36. I mean, that's fine as well. So I'm thinking we can probably just ride out like this for the rest of this season and then just see how we go. So the Lakers are currently 34-4, which is ridiculous. Normally in these 80s series, they play insanely well, which, you know, it makes sense. Same with the Celtics. So yeah, I don't see any other moves I want to make for this season. Let's just keep it moving and see how we end up finishing. Okay, now I'm going to be a little bit sneaky here. Ralph Sampson has been injured, right? He's very good. It's a short-term injury by the look of it, but we are so close here to the off-season that I'm just going to go ahead and shut him down. I know that's a little bit cheeky and we don't really have a backup center, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and shut him down for the rest of the season just so I can fully embrace the tank. Now, the good news is that we do actually have a losing record in the last couple of weeks. So as bad as that sounds, that is something I want. So let's go ahead and run something like this. Can swap those 2 positions, and then we can do that as Ralph is going to watch from the sidelines. He might be a little bit annoyed, but that's fine, Ralph. We have to look towards the future. So with that said, we're going to keep it moving, and fingers crossed that we can bottom out. So we're going to go ahead and leave the rotation as is. He might get upset with me. He might not. I don't know. We'll see, but there we go. That's much better. That is what I like to see. This is the only time I'll be saying that for the tank. And just while I'm still with you guys before I run off, let's see where we're sitting. We've fallen down to the 11 seed, baby. Let's go. I promise I won't be praying for that in any other seasons, but we do need a high pick. So I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, I've just stopped because there was more season left than I initially thought. And the crazy thing is, Ralph, he hasn't played for a few weeks. He's still #1 in Rookie of the Year. So I might even bring him back for a little bit here just to make sure he wins that award. And I guess we were just load managing him before that was a real thing, because we know he's had his injury history in the past in real life. A couple of things I noticed. The sim speed is a lot quicker, so I don't know if they patched that or if it's because we're in the 80s. I don't know, so we'll have to wait and see when we get further along. But interestingly, I wanted to point this out. We actually have Ralph under contract for 5 years, so that is absolutely fantastic. In terms of other guys not under contract for next season, we do have quite a few, which is fine. We can see what decisions we want to make there. So I think I will actually have them rebuild it, and he can play less minutes just because we're obviously not winning anything. So I'll give him about 32. We can give about 32 our point guard and 26 to Craig Elo. So let's go ahead and make sure he wins that. You could see he's #1 in the race. Not many weeks left, so there's probably not a lot of point here, but we will play him to get some reps up. We'll just say he took longer than initially thought recovering from his injury. See if he can get us any more wins. Low-key, he should have been in the MVP and Depoy discussions while we were actually winning, because we were pretty good, and that was all off of his back clearly, because as soon as he went out, you saw that we just fell off. So I mean, he is still on fire. He's averaging 21, 10 and 2 blocks on 50% still. That's ridiculous. So if we can get a good point guard like a John Stockton, or obviously Mike, to just play next to him with some ball handling duties, that's going to be crazy, man. And now we're getting all these injuries. We do get a couple more wins here to end the season, and that might not have been worth it if we fell in the draft board. I probably should have looked at that. But Magic wins MVP. No shock there. He does get Rookie of the Year. Let's go. So we love that. Kevin McHale, 6-man. Tree Rollins, Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, I feel like we could have even won that if we were a little bit better. And the Lakers won 70 games. Okay, Philly gets Executive of the Year. I mean, we gave them Elvin Hayes, right? So maybe that's what that's about. So here's your first team: Magic, IT, Larry Bird, Julius Erving, Moses Malone. No shocks there, but Philly does have 2 All-NBA first-team players, which is insane. There's Dominique on the Hawks on second team. I did consider doing them. We might do them in the next episode. Alex English, Reggie Theus, Marcus Johnson, and Jeff Ruland. I may have disrespected him in the first episode. I apologize. Walter Davis, Ricky Green, Mark Aguirre, Cliff Robinson, and Jack Sikma. Did we get our guy on all defensive second team is the question. Magic makes first team. We did not, so it was Kareem. They get 2 all defensive players. That's crazy. Julius Erving, Larry Bird, Dennis Johnson, Mo Cheeks. We obviously get all rookie first team member. Thurl Bailey also makes it, which is cool. And there's Jeff Malone, a lot of Malones, and Doc Rivers too. Shout out Doc. So I guess it's time for the moment of truth. I think we won 3 games in those last couple of weeks. Let's see if that made a difference. It did not on our side, and it did here. So we were better than Chicago and Indiana. So we should have the 3rd highest odds. Now, with the way that goes, I mean, Chicago might still end up with Mike. That's pretty cool. Or they might get Hakeem, so I guess we'll see. You have the Lakers as your 1 seed on the left, Boston on the right. That's quite funny. So you know what team LA has. They're going up against Seattle, who's got Gus Williams and Jack Sikma. Denver here has Alex English and Dan Issel. Going up against Phoenix with Walter Davis and Mo Lucas. Portland has Fat Lever, one of the best names in NBA history, mind you. Michael Thompson, shout out Michael Thompson, and Jim Paxson. And then over here, you have Mark Aguirre and Rolando Blackman on the Mavs. In Utah, Thurl Bailey, rookie, is starting there with Mark Eaton, and Adrian Dantley's a 90 with Ricky Green at an 86. George Gervin's still a 92, which is really cool at 31 years old. And then similar story with Boston. You know what they are about. They are a scary team. Not starting Kevin McHale. I've seen that before. That's quite odd. And over in New York, you have Bernard King. Philly, we saw some Mo Cheeks, Billy Knight, Julius Erving. They are starting Elvin Hayes with Moses Malone. So there you go. That trade worked out for them. We get an extra pick. Even if it's just a trade up with, obviously they're the 4 seed. It's not the end of the world. And then the Nets over here in New Jersey, mind you, Otis Birdsong, and Buck Williams. Milwaukee has a 90 overall Sidney Moncrief. That's pretty cool. Dominique Wilkins, and there is Atlanta. They did make it as a 6 seed, so something to keep in mind when we're thinking about the next team we do. There's Zeke, Kelly Tripucka, and Bill Laimbeer. And the Cavs lastly have World B. Free, I guess. Is somebody injured? Interesting that is a 7 seed. Anywho, let's sim the playoffs and see who wins it, as we have no stake in this. And Boston and LA advance, and it is LA over Boston there in the final. So you saw that was pretty quick. The sim speed, fingers crossed, that is a running theme now. Magic wins finals MVP. As a Laker fan, makes me happy. As a current Rockets manager, not so much. Tiny Archibald retires, as does Fred Brown, and then a couple other guys here, Sam Williams and Robert Adams. But this one says rule change. A player fouled in transition with a clear path to the basket will receive 2 free throws, retain possession. Sounds good to me. For a second, I misread it and I thought it said it was a take foul. I was like, hang on, that's a little bit too early, but no, learn how to read. So team branding here for the Jazz, for the Pacers, for the Clippers. Nothing really for us, so that's fine. And then this rule change is just for that historic change. So going into the draft lottery here, this is the moment of truth. So the Bulls have a 50% pick and the Trailblazers have a 50% pick. I guess this is the older odds. So maybe winning those extra couple of games did hurt us. I guess we'll see what happens. And I guess we don't really care, right? So the Blazers get 1, Bulls get 2. We do have 3. So we are guaranteed one of the guys I wanted. I wanted either John Stockton or Michael Jordan. I don't think John Stockton's going first, obviously. So we're going to get 1. Obviously, we'd prefer Mike, right? And I'm just thinking, as crazy as it would be, I would probably move him to point guard eventually. So I will see how we go there. I think we can definitely develop his passing. We did get that first round pick from the Sixers, but I'm guessing it's in the future because I don't see it there. It's either that or I'm blind, which is a very real possibility. That's fun. So let's go into staff signing. Will Murphy, our head coach, is pretty good. He has solid ratings along with Logan Mills, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. We'll just let the AI handle that. So going straight into the draft. Now the question is, they have Michael Jordan going second to the Bulls, which is hilarious. And I forgot we do have Charles Barkley as an option, which would be cool. But I'm going to try to trade up to number 2 because obviously Michael Jordan next to Ralph Sampson would be absolutely insane. So let's call up the Bulls, go over here to Chicago. I'm sorry to do this. This will probably be a fleece if they do accept it. So I would give you that. I would give you this 76ers first round pick in 87. Do they say yes to that straight up? And they do. Cool. So, I mean, 1 extra pick. I guess they didn't really know how good Mike would be. I just simmed to use a pick. They might have taken him first. They did not. So Hakeem goes first. Akeem, sorry, he hasn't added the H yet because that's, you know, when he came over, that's how it was pronounced. The Houston thing, I'm pretty sure, is just a rumor. I don't think that's actually true, but cool to think about. Regardless, we didn't want to repeat history. So Michael, Jeffrey, freaking Jordan, you are a Houston Rocket. So just before we do take him, it is cool that Barkley's here. So hopefully he does go third. I forgot when I was mentioning Stockton as well. Barkley would have been cool to put next to our guy, Ralph. Let's see if Barkley goes third. He does. Cool. And here's a Bull to replace Mike. That is awesome. But let's go ahead and sim to the end here and see what we got. So Mike is an 85 in this user-made draft class. I think that's a little bit higher than his 2K version. But I guess it makes sense. Mike was Rookie of the Year. And I just realized we got Ralph as Rookie of the Year, who was also Rookie of the Year in real life. So hopefully we can go back-to-back with Rookie of the Years. Mike, of course, we're picking that up, baby. He is going to be what puts us over the edge. Now, going into year 2, obviously, I think Mike makes us not a contender immediately, but he definitely makes us competitive right away. So now that we have these two, we have to work out what we're doing with the rest. Craig Elo and Mike on the same team is hilarious. So if we make Craig a small forward, he's still only 22. He goes up to a 74, right? So for right now, if they're our wing pair, I'm cool with that. Caldwell Jones is old, but we can keep him as our power forward. I would like a new center, and we want to see if we can bring back our point guard. So do we have bird rights on him currently? And we do, Alan Leavell. So he was actually phenomenal, and it looks like he was in Houston pretty much his entire career up until this point. So, I mean, he put up 6.6 assists, 8.1 per 36. I think he's a solid point guard to have, at least for the start here, because I said I do want to try Mike there, you know, at at point guard at some point. So I think, does he have any offers is the question. He does not. Okay. But do we have any cap space? No, we don't. So that's going to be interesting for me. I haven't really done many 80s rebuild slash, research to see what the salary cap was looking like. But interestingly, it goes up by 250K each time. So, I mean, I guess if we try to offer him 330 on a 3-year deal, he's 27. That'll take him up to his 30. And we'll throw a team option on that. But I'll give him a little bit more, maybe 350. So we'll see if he's happy with that. Now, I'm not going to bring back any of those other guys, but we are going to see if we can get a backup big just for those minutes that Ralph is out. And I want a legitimate big. All right, cool. Looks like Chuck Nevitt, who we actually might have had, or at least was on the Rockets. Real guy, and he's a 7'5" center. He's only 70 overall. But, I mean, 7'5", if you know how 2K works, you know how 2K works. I mean, we could offer him a 2-year minimum and see if he accepts that. I would love that. So we can get Chuck and we can get Allen. That is elite. These other guys I'm not too fussed about. So let's go ahead and just make sure we do pick those guys up. Okay, cool. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think some of these overalls are a little bit skewed just because, as I said in the first episode, these 80s rosters, there's a lot of fall off, which is interesting. So I think Mike's backup position, we're going to make point guard, right? Because we don't have a reliable backup point guard and we do have a couple of wings. So this is going to be a different Michael Jordan than the one you're used to seeing. You and I are used to seeing. So hopefully we can get his playmaking up there as well. But just in case, as a bit of insurance, I will try to pick up a backup point guard. Foots Walker, I don't know much about you, my friend, but you do have a couple of badges. So we'll offer him a 1-year deal and we do pick him up. Cool. So let's go ahead and we can renounce the rights on everybody else here. And I'm going to go ahead and go to play progression. Let's see what we have. Hopefully Ralph takes a big jump. He's an 88. Mike's an 85. So we do have a dynamic duo now. I'm getting hyped for this, bro. Let's go. This is starting to take shape. I'm glad we traded up for Mike. I don't know. Obviously, we won't be with this team when that Philly pick conveys. But also don't know if it was going to be worth much. So Mike, backup position, point guard. Going to be rocking some 2K cheese. Shooting guard there for Craig. Allen, I guess in this universe, he's probably too small to be playing backup shooting guard. But we do have an extra point guard there, which is nice. And everybody else is fine. So let's go ahead and go to load in our next draft class, right? So we're going to spin the wheel and see which draft we get, baby. All right, man. And let's see what we get. Loading. Just ignore my Optus ad, which is a phone provider here in Australia, and then Adobe on the right there. That's always fun. Free advertising for them. And we actually get the 87 draft. I promise that's not rigged. That is the one I added because of Reggie. So cool, let's do that. All right, boys, here is our custom-made 87 draft or user downloaded. I guess we still have Scottie Pippen, which is cool. We'll have Mike and Scottie in the league. We have David Robinson, and then we have Reggie Miller. That is actually a pretty good cyberface or creation, I guess. Kenny the Jet Smith, Kevin Johnson, Reggie Lewis, Horace Grant, Mark Jackson. This is a very good draft class, yeah. Muggsy Bugs there too, that's fun. So cool, man. I'm glad we're going to have Reggie and Chuck in here. Worked out really well. And we got him in early. That could have taken a long time. So the Michael Jordan era in Houston begins. He's wearing 21. I can't let that happen. So we're going to have to go ahead and see who has 23. I hope it's not retired here in Houston, which might actually be the case. And actually, I changed my mind. We're going to leave Jordan at 21. 12 just doesn't look right. 21 still a legendary number ultimately. Now that's the problem with retired numbers in 2K, right? In real life, players can get permission to use those numbers. I guess we couldn't use any of them for Mike here except 12, which just doesn't look right. He only wore it because it was stolen. So he's going to be part of the 21 family now, along with Tim Duncan. So we'll see what they want to do here. They want to start Allen, Mike, Rodney, which is fine. He's actually only 23. We do have an aging power forward there in Caldwell Jones, and Ralph Sampson's still there. So we sort of really want to get an upgrade at that power forward spot. And our bench here is also taking a hit. That's fine. With these two guys, we should be looking good. Mike's shot tendency is at a 99 there. So they can both actually stay there. We want them taking all the shots. We can lower Ralph's touches a little bit now that he has Jordan. I guess we will change here to a 7-second system. Game 1 of the season. Let's see, we get a win here. Ralph has 33 and 10. Mike has 28 2, 5 assists, which is awesome. 3 steals and 2 blocks. Almost perfect shooting. That's what I want to see, man. Just these two carrying us. Craig Elo also had 16 points on interesting efficiency. And then there's our guy Allen with 7 assists, so we'll definitely take that. Start the season, they have us as the 12th team in the power rankings. We'll see if we can do better than that now that we have Mike. We might also be looking to make a deadline trade. So I'm going to keep us moving until we see a potentially interesting team, and then I'll sim, and if it's close, we can hop in, get a bit of gameplay. Otherwise, we can just watch the AI and see how we go. So I will be back with you guys very shortly. You know the drill, unless something crazy happens, but I'll see you in a sec. And actually, just before we go any further, I am going to have Michael mentored by Foot. So brought him in for a reason. We can at least get Mike Dimer on bronze, as well as Needle Threader. We'll get him some playmaking badges, special delivery. Special delivery I'm not too worried about, and we can also do unpluckable. And then here's a offensive shooting guard training style at the moment. I'm going to make him an all-around shooting guard style. So this could be a fun game to jump into if it's close. They have Hakeem Olajuwon, or Akeem Olajuwon, pardon me. So I will stop this if it's close, otherwise we'll keep it moving. And it looks like it is very close. I almost went too far there, but there is a minute left and it's a 1-point game. So let's get it. I'm not going to play. And yeah, we've seen this before. That's kind of cool. Let me just go to the other side here. We have seen the Aero filter before. Aero filter, it looks pretty cool. A little bit different, but it's going to give me a headache. It's going to give you guys a headache. So let's go ahead and turn that off. I will go in the middle here. And of course, that is still in 2K, as frustrating as it is. So let's go ahead and reset the camera. So it looks like we do have the ball. Our guy here has the ball in his hands. And you can see our boy Allen's actually been very good already this season. So he's putting up about 13 and 9 on 50%, 56% shooting. So he might actually low-key be the perfect point guard. So it looks like we have a possession there with Ralph on Akeem. And it looks like Jordan is not even on the court, because of course he's not. Lucky we score there. And Jordan has 29 points and 5 assists. If he is not fouled out, I don't understand why he's not on the court. So give me 1 second. I'm going to go back to Houston and just make sure he's in. Go ahead and do that. Hopefully it saves my preferences. But that said, if they don't score here, this could be pretty much the final possession, I would assume, because then they're going to foul. Hopefully we can make at least one of them. But it looks like they do score here. Cool. So hopefully we take a timeout, which it does not look like they're going to do. So I might actually go ahead and do that. So let's do that now. And then, yeah, so it looks like Mike is coming in. They still haven't fixed that, which is very annoying for us. But let's go ahead and make sure that is the case. So it's going to be Allen with his 11 assists, Mike, and then the rest of our lineup is optimized. Cool. So let's go ahead and make sure that happens. And then let's go back to the middle. Cool. So let's see if they're just going to foul. If they do, that might get a little bit boring, but they did score, pardon me, so they will not foul. Why is Mike wearing Converse, bro? Am I seeing that right? He's wearing Converse? I am immediately going to put him in some ones, because that should be illegal. He pulls up there for the mid-range and it goes in and out. Mike does not have the clutch gene just yet. He fouls there. Wearing 21 is so off-putting. But even more so is wearing those Converses. That's crazy. They foul here. We're hoping they miss one, but even if they make both, it's not the end of the world. We just need a 3, but it is the 80s, I guess. They make both. All right, so it's a 3-point game. I assume they're going to give it to Mike immediately. Or not. They go ahead and give it to Allen, which is fine. He's been setting everyone up really well. But with this much time left, we probably don't want to give it to him to take the 3. We do get the rebound. Mike for 3. He pump fakes, he pulls up, and he misses. Ralph gets the board. One more chance, and no good. So we lose that one. Tough L. But what can you do, man? You can't win them all. So that's fun. We pick up the L. Mike would have had 29, 2, and 5. And then Ralph, 12, 15, and 3 blocks. Their side, it was pretty evenly spread, but I guess Clyde and Akeem with a better shooting guard center duo. That's quite funny. Portland has them. So that could be a rivalry moving forward for sure. Yeah, why the hell is Mike wearing Converses? I mean, unless that's what he wore before he had his own. But I think we're definitely going to have to go with some Jordans here. And you know what? Just kidding. Those are the only options. So it might just be that it's that period in the NBA where they're not allowed to wear other models. So I guess we'll keep an eye on that and get you into some Jordans, I promise, as soon as we can. I actually just got offered this trade, a first-round pick for Craig Elo. And it is a 1988 Denver first, unprotected. So I'm definitely going to accept that. That might be crazy, because we are 8-7 currently, but I think that first round pick is going to be worth a lot more than Craig Elo is. So the end of our bench is a little bit rough, which does hurt. Let me see quickly. I don't know how this is going to look in the 80s, but if we go to free agency, so George Johnson is sitting there. How much money does he want? More than what we can offer him. It's like all those guys are out of our current price range, which is fine. I guess we'll just keep it at a 9, man. That might be what's killing us. But this is crazy. Look at this. As a rookie, Mike is averaging 26, 4 and 6 on 65% shooting. Ridiculous. And then Ralph is doing his part, still 20 and 11 with 2.5 blocks almost, so up even more. Might win DPOY, man. Let's see. And Mike just destroys his real life team here. He has 36. Reggie Theus has 14, so lucky we pulled him away. Ralph has a 20-20 game with 2 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. He's a monster. And I'm just realizing, I guess, trading away Craig Elo does confirm one more tanking season just because he was a big part of our depth. So here we have the Lakers. They're just steamrolling everybody. You can see James Harden in that picture. That's kind of funny. If we sim this one, yeah, they blow us out as well. Ralph and Jordan played well, but you just can't compete when Magic is putting the team together. You can see they are still the 1 seed. I'm going to do this trade with the Pistons for Earl Cureton and a 2nd round pick. We're swapping seconds, I guess, and just unloading a couple of bottom of the bench guys, just so we do have at least 1 extra bit of depth, so we can actually play 1 more in the rotation. So we do currently still have 2 69s getting minutes, nice. But we do have an injured player, so hopefully we can get something to happen. I might also trade just a couple more of the lower overall guys. And then I guess we'll also pick up Alvin Scott from the Suns, just another 72 overall. One thing I'm noticing in this era, a lot of very tall centers that are like 7'4" and above, or around that. So maybe back in the day, if you were that tall, they just assumed you could play. But in any case, hopefully those 70 overalls make a difference to our team. I don't think we're going to be that great. So Foots is injured already. That's awesome. But he can play through it. So we are 19 and 22. First game after the deadline. Still in the playoffs, I guess, technically. So it's just the Lakers and the Mavericks up there. But let's keep it moving and cross our fingers that we can maybe make the playoffs. Otherwise, I guess we'll just try to get another high pick in this draft, and we can always try to trade up. So I'll see you there. So that is interesting. We are 1 game under 500 with 1 game left in the season, and we are currently the 7 seed. Now, we went through a period, there was like a week or 2 where we had a new injury literally every day, sometimes even 2. So I turned down the frequency for user and CPU to 30. I think it was at 40 before. So just so that's a little bit more entertaining, everyone's not always injured. And I guess we will see if we can get in here. We do not finish at 500. Magic Johnson wins another MVP, but we get Rookie of the Year and Michael Jordan averaging 31, rounding up 4 and almost 6, 2.5 steals, 1 block, 58, 76 splits. So he's coming for that throne, my guy, the other MJ. The Bulls there had 6th man of the year. Hakeem wins Defensive Player of the Year. James Worthy also wins Most Improved. Sheesh. But the Celtics get Coach of the Year. And I guess this is just the greatest executive ever over in Philly because he has won that back-to-back. Also, Michael Jordan, as a rookie, makes all NBA first team. That's ridiculous. He could have won MVP if we were better. He also won Rookie of the Year. And he was on all first team defensive. That's ridiculous. There's Larry Bird, Dominique, and Moses. Hakeem gets 2nd team. Do we get 3rd team with Ralph Sampson? Yep. So we had 2 All-Stars and 2 All-NBA players. That's awesome. Team also made 2nd team. Michael Jordan, there he is, all defensive first, and then all defensive 2nd team there. Fortunately, we did not get that with our guy, Ralph, but you can see Mike all rookie first team along with Stockton, Hakeem, Charles Barkley, and Colin Wood. So we did finish as the 7th seed. We made the playoffs, meaning our pick isn't going to be as valuable, but we can always try to trade up. So I guess that's going to be something like our 9-man rotation going into the playoffs. These guys both been cold, so let's go ahead and lower their minutes a little bit. We can do something like that. And then our guy Chuck can get a few more just because you can see he's 7'5", backing up our 7'4" All-NBA center. That's kind of ridiculous. And then for the playoffs, we probably want those 2 playing 42, and the rest can go to Allen. He's also been fantastic. You can see about 12 and 8, 40% from the field, 40 from 3. Efficiency could be a little bit better, but I don't think anyone was efficient this year. So player stats, you could see Mike led us. There's Ralph with 21, 11, and he finished with 2 blocks, almost 50%. Our shooting guard actually shot better from the field than our center. That's ridiculous. Rodney was our 3rd scorer, actually, with about 12 points, 42 from the field. You saw Allen, Timothy Stewart, auto-generator guy, we don't really care. Caldwell Jones, about 5 and 6.5. And then Chuck, per 36, about 8 and 9 for our 7'5" backup. That's fun. They've got Brad Davis, Rolando Blackman, Mark Aguirre. So, I mean, they should probably smoke us, but you never know. Mike might get us a game. Let's see. Game 1, Mark Aguirre's 30, and then it wasn't even Jordan. He had 16. Ralph had a good game, though. So did Allen, 19-5, but we're not going to win like that. Game 2. Yep. There's Jordan with a 20 piece. He might not be ready just yet. And we get eliminated there in 3. He does have 45 in the closeout game, so that maybe gives us a bit of hope for the next coming season. Ralph ends with 14 and 10. Yikes. So I do want to build around the 2 of them. Hopefully Ralph doesn't make me regret that. And then the Pistons actually beat the Lakers, so IT gets his. So kind of similar to real world timing right now. There goes Elvin. He retired with the Sixers after we sent him there, so he played about a season and a half. Yeah, he was just really a backup, wasn't he? That's okay. There goes Jared Antetokounmpo, I guess. Paul Westphal. So all lottery picks done via random weighted draw. That's in there now. All lottery teams have equal odds. Interesting. And then some rebrandings here. Cool. Now we do have the 12th overall pick, and that's all I can see right now. You know, sometimes it's hard to notice all these things. But let's go ahead and get a new coach. So our guy has expired. We could just cheese it and get Michael Stauffer. I kind of don't want to do that, but at the same time, another team is probably going to do that. Jordan had Phil Jackson, who is arguably the greatest coach of all time. So let's go ahead and see if we can get Michael Stauffer there. And we do get Michael Stauffer. Cool. So then I will see, I guess, does Trent Peterson want to be our backup? We get the 2 best coaches in the class, which is elite. Now let's go to the NBA draft. Just before it gets started, I do want to have a quick look here at the mock drafts. So they have David Robinson first. Obviously don't need him. Common sense, we have Ralph, he's a lead already. Scottie Pippen, yes, but also we're trying to do things differently. We don't just want to reassemble the Bulls here in Houston. Reggie Miller could be fun because he's 6'7". He can definitely play small forward. So I guess we'll see if Reggie doesn't go. Where are we again? We're at pick 12. So we might try to move up. Let's just see how this goes because Reggie might go earlier than we thought. So David Robinson goes there. Reggie Miller goes second. Yeah, so it's not a bad looking creative player, I guess. And then Scotty goes third. Let's just go to the user pick in that case and see who is available here. Do you know what? Actually, this could be really fun. So Allen's my guy just from this video alone. But Muggsy Bogues at 5'3" could be very entertaining with Michael Jordan. So we do know Muggsy has a long career at his short height and he becomes a very good player. So you know what? Let's form a big 3. I don't know if that's enough to get the job done, but let's go ahead and take 5'3" Muggsy Bogues. That's crazy. So you got 84, 81 for Reggie. That's pretty good. Scotty's an 80. So this was really a top 3 heavy draft. There's still some talent. Muggsy's a 76. Mark Jackson went a pick before, dude. Oh man, I would have loved Mark Jackson. One of the top leaders in assists all time. I mean, what do the badges say? He has silver dimer. Muggsy has actually more silver badges. Okay, I mean, Muggsy's fun, man. Whatever, let's do it. Let's get Muggsy Bogues, Michael Jordan, and Ralph Sampson. So we have one of the shortest guys, one of the tallest guys, and one of the best guys to ever do it. I'm gonna let both of those 69 overalls walk, I know. How shocking. Let's have a quick look. So right now we'd have Muggsy Bogues. I'd start him immediately. Michael Jordan. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we really need an upgrade at the 4 spot and I guess at the 3 spot. But the main concern right now is the 4 spot. So this is where we can look to make a trade. We still have no cap, which is interesting. So if we look here, I mean, yeah, Ralph's making a lot of money. Mike's making a lot of money. We've got 500K, 300. So we just have a lot of, you know, that mid-tier sort of contract, I guess. But let's go ahead and have a look at who was bad last year. All right, so definitely not what we wanted. I'm a little bit upset we couldn't get Jack Sigma, but we will keep an eye out on that still during the season. So instead, we're going to do this for Cliff Levingston, who's only 24 years old. He has some good badges. He's sort of your get rebounds, play defense sort of power forward. And we also get backup Kent Benson, who's another 6'11" center power forward. And we're just giving up that first round pick from Denver, along with Allen and Caldwell Jones. Sad to see him go, I know, but we had to do it for the team. I'm actually going to do this trade here with the Lakers to get Mike McGee and Kurt Rambis. We can slide him down to the 2. Hopefully he's okay there. We give him a second, and hopefully this makes him a bit worse. So they're getting a bunch of low 70s for a 76 and a 73. I mean, it's a very aging league, isn't it? That's kind of tough. I guess Mike Dunleavy's here, so can we get him? I would really like that. Please sign with us, and he does. Cool. All right, so with that done, I think we are ready to go into the next season. So let's go straight to player progression and see. Hopefully Mike is up to a 90, and he is. He's already the best player. Looks like Ralph might have plateaued at an 88. So let's go to the next season and spin the wheel. I kind of feel like I want to do one more season for this team. So we will see how we go. I'll see you guys at the wheel. All right, let's click to spin here, and it's going to land on, please be one of the newer ones. 2009, bro. Perfect. That's what I was hoping for. So you know me, I like to use user-created classes because even the 2K official ones suck. So let's go with this one here. It's got 72 downloads. Hopefully this is accurate. And it looks like we have Steph 1, Harden 2, Brandon Jennings, Blake Griffin, DeMar DeRozan, Jeff Teague, Drew Holiday, James Johnson, Joe Ingles. That looks good to me. Beautiful. So it's going to be interesting to see Curry in the 80s. Definitely going to be interesting. I'm going to keep Ralph. I'm going to stick to that. But if a trade comes up for Muggsy and he's playing really well and I can go out and get a crazy point guard, I'm definitely going to do that, or even a shooting guard, and then we can do what we talked about and move Mike to point guard. We can see how many assists he averages. We're playing Utah for the first game of the season for the third year in a row. They have an 85 and 89. We have a 90 and 88. So we finally look like a real NBA team, which is super exciting. Let's see who wins this, and we win by 9. Michael Jordan in his first game with 33 and 6. 22 and 9 with 2 blocks from Ralph. He's a good center, man. Muggsy in his first game as a starting point guard, 6 points, 8 assists. Nice, 3 turnovers, whatever, he's short. 3 for 6 shooting. All right, so let's keep it moving. We'll see how we are at the deadline, and maybe we get a better point guard, shooting guard, and then move Mike, or small forward, I don't know. We'll see. Possibilities are endless. I will see you guys in a minute. And that's fun. Our highest system proficiency is in triangle, so I guess we'll go to that. Okay, so we started off slow, but we are in the playoff picture. The Lakers and the Mavericks are just insane. And that's after I thought I took somebody from the Lakers. That's fun. Michael Jordan's a top 10 player in the NBA. He's averaging 28, less points, 4 rebounds, 5.5 assists, which is very good, 2 steals, 3 turnovers, 56, almost 80 splits, so that's fun. He does actually have a solid 3-point rating, so I'm gonna get him ahead of his time a little bit, but nothing like what it would be, you know, in today's NBA. So we'll go about a 44 there. Now Muggsy's been good, 5.6, almost 8 assists, 40% there. So similar to what we were getting from Allen. But that said, I'm not opposed to moving him. So let's see. Actually, I'll go through the teams first and see if there's anything worth looking at. Oh my God. Oh my God, I don't know if you guys saw that. I didn't think that was gonna go through, but we pick up George Gervin. I don't even know what I just gave up, bro. We gave them Muggsy Bogues, a 1st round pick, and I can't see the rest of it. So I know I gave multiple firsts. So I guess we're doing it, bro. We're going all in. Michael's gonna be point guard now. He goes down 2. So does Gervin, but that's fine. So we're gonna make Mike the full-time 1, which is very interesting. But now we have a big 3 of Mike, George Gervin, and Ralph Sampson, along with a pretty solid bench for this time period, I guess. But that's right, we did have to give up our starting small forward. So I do need to try and make another trade to fill that hole. So give me 1 second. I honestly didn't think that was going to go through. That's insane. I can sign Charles Davis, who's a 74 overall small forward. And now for a full circle moment, we're going to bring Robert Reed back to play our small forward. Just have to give up those guys and a 2nd round pick. So he goes up to a 79 at small forward, which is nice. So I trust that a little bit better. Their backup power forward. All right. So with that trade, our new lineup going into the deadline is Mike, George Gervin, Robert Reed. Hopefully that works out because George is 33. And then Cliff Levingston, Ralph Sampson, Mike Dunleavy, and then the rest of the bench. Hey, so that trade definitely made us better. Those trades we're 50 and 31, 1 game left in the season, and we've moved up to the 4 seed. I was talking about the Blazers earlier. They're actually elite now. The Lakers are going to win probably 71 games again this year. So that's absolutely ridiculous. We do win 51. Magic gets 3 MVPs in a row. That's why these ones are hard to do in the 80s. David Robinson, Rookie of the Year, very nice. John Drew. Akeem gets another depoy. John Stockton wins Most Improved. And they win 70 games. Nice. Dallas gets Executive of the Year. I feel like that should have been us because they've been pretty good consistently. Michael Jordan as a point guard makes All-NBA first team. Hey, he did go up to 6 assists a game, so don't say that man can't do it. And he shot 23% from 3. Nice. And then we get Ralph on All-NBA third team. He's just been solid, man. Consistent. 23 and 11, 2 blocks. And Jordan makes All-Defensive second team. Reggie Miller there with Seattle. Scottie Pippen's there as well, about 12, 5, and 4. Rookie second team. Muggsy Bogues made it after we moved him. He went up to a 77. Very nice. Now I'm just thinking, with this 2009 draft class, we probably shouldn't have given away our pick. I guess we'll see if that comes back to bite us. I mean, I can always trade back into the draft. It's not the end of the world. So we are the 4 seed going against Utah. I might do one more season after this. So we saw Mike, we saw Ralph. George ended with 22 points on 57% shooting. So our big three all had 20 points a game, and then everyone else pretty much just falls off. Robert Reed gave us about, well, on the season total, 10, 4, and 4. That's fine. Do a bit of everything. Dunleavy off the bench, 9 and 5.5. That's solid. He even shot some 3-pointers. Probably 40 to our entire big three. Mike, we can play 45. Robert, we can play 25, and then 29 to Livingston. Even if we win this series, we have to go against the Lakers, and this team's probably still better than us. So we're better at the 1, we're better at the 2. They're much better at the 3. We're the same at the 4, although Thurl is very good in 2K, and we're better at the 5. So let's see. I mean, it is a 4-5 matchup. Hopefully we can get out of here. They take game 1. Okay, Mike has 31, 5, and 4. Joe Barry Carroll has 32 and 12. Game 2, we go down, and we have to remember it is not a best of 7 just yet. Mike has 48. Are we going to get swept in round 1 as the highest seed? Yeah. Okay, so we haven't made it out of the first round. Mike has 28 and 10. See who wins it all. Probably going to be the Lakers, and actually lose to Portland, who lose to the Celtics. There goes Kareem though on the Lakers, so that's huge. Hopefully that makes them a lot worse. And Bob McAdoo. Okay, cool. They have Steph going first, Blake going second. I feel like in this time period, he's probably the best pick. Harden third, but I would put Robert Reed right back. I mean, he's a 2.5-star value. Could we get higher than that? Because I'm sure there's a guy in this draft who would be a really good small forward that I don't have to worry as much about. Could we do 7 with the Bulls? I don't know if that's going to get it done. They would want another first-round pick from us. No, thank you. What if I give you the second in this draft? They still want a first. I'm not doing that. And I'll give you this second in 88. They want 2 more seconds. They would also give me Rod Higgins. Sure, we'll do that. Why not? That might have been a few too many seconds based off how many picks I gave up. But let's see who's still available. Drew Holiday's still there. I mean, he's a point guard, but he is 6'5". And actually, you know what? We can just take Drew. Then we'd have a proper point guard, and then we can move everything else around. Mike can go back to a normal position. So this has been a little bit messy, but it's fine. We got Drew. So Harden actually goes first, then Curry. He's an 82. Drew's a 75, but I low-key think he fits this era perfectly. We do actually have a mil now to offer people. Mike will go back to the 2. Actually, we'll move Mike to the 3. He goes up even more. Norm Nixon is 30, but I could afford him, and he would be a very good starter. The Lakers are trying to get him back. That's kind of funny. So, I mean, I would give him a 1+1 with a team option. Does he like that at all? He does. That's actually his first pick. All right, cool. So we'll go ahead and get him. All right, so we get Norm Nixon, and Clyde goes back to the Blazers, Buck goes to the Nets. All right, so Norm Nixon, obviously we just brought in Drew, but having Drew as a 6-man is going to be great. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need a backup big. Then our guy Chuck is still here. He wants a minimum. I'd give him a 2-year deal. Let's see if we can hopefully get those guys. All right, so let's go to play progression, and let's hope Mike is up to a 95, and he's up to a 94, so that's close enough. We'll take that. Ralph's still an 88. George regresses a little bit, so does Norm. But we're starting to look pretty good. That's 9, guys. Let's go ahead and load in another draft class, shall we? All right, so spinning the wheel. No duplicates, obviously. Another recent one would be fun, but 1996. Okay, that's perfect, because this will be the last episode with this team, and then whichever team we pick next, 96, is going to have a lot of options for us. Let's have a look at this one. That looks a bit better. So this is the guy who did the last one too. So Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, Steve Nash, Ray Allen. Yeah, that looks good. Sweet as, man. Let's go into the 4th and final season, I guess. So maybe we're doing 4 seasons instead of 3. We're finally at a 3.5-star balance. That's fun. So now Michael Jordan is our full-time small forward. He's played 1 through 3 for us, which I mean, he probably has technically done throughout his career. So now we have Norm Nixon, George Gervin, Michael Jordan, Cliff Levingston, who's just been solid, same with Ralph. 75 overall 6-man Drew Holiday, Rod Higgins, Mark, and Chuck Nevitt. So the bench still does fall off. So that might be something we still look to upgrade. But for the start of the season, let's just see where they have us at in the power rankings. That is the standings. Power rankings, so they have Portland first. Jeez, dude. So they have a 92 and a 93. I guess that's probably why. And an 85 coming off the bench, Jim Paxson. Okay, but they do have us at 3rd. Interesting. So the Celtics still at 2. I think we're better than that team. Obviously, they have Larry. We have Michael. So Norm, George, Michael, Cliff, Ralph, and Drew just looks really nice. Mike's got a ton of Hall of Fame badges now. Well, 3. I'm going to start simming, and I will stop when something crazy happens. I'll see you in a bit. Oh my God. I might have just messed up again. I just got back after having dinner. The sim's very quick. So we did finally get our Jack Sikma pickup, I guess. He's going to move to the power forward, and I did just have to trade away Norm, but I guess that means we can start Drew. That's okay. I think he can manage as our starting point guard. He's giving us about 10, 4, almost a rebound, 48, 30, 73 splits. And I think I might just look to see if I can upgrade the bench a little bit. Otherwise, we are 24 and 16 at the deadline. We're still the 4 seed, which is kind of funny after all that. And the Blazers are the new Lakers, which is even scarier, but give me a sec. And I didn't find any trades, but John Paxson's sitting there. He'll sign for a minimum, so we'll definitely take that. And then same with John Sundvold. I mean, he's also a point guard, but he'll take a minimum, so just get some more overall depth. And now maybe that allows us to move Drew to a backup, or pardon me, full-time shooting guard, where he doesn't go up or down, which is interesting. He's a 77 small forward, so that's something to keep in mind, but we will make him a shooting guard, and his backup can be a point guard. So let's see, how many deep does that make us now? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we could use one more 75 plus guy on the bench. So currently we have a 1, a 2, a 3. So we could use a better backup center. Let's see if that exists either in free agency or via a trade. And I guess Jerry Monroe is a 74, so we'll take that. Let's end this season strong and hopefully go up to the 3 seed, who knows? And just so we can keep Mike at the 2, I flipped him and George Gervin in terms of their primary position, so that is cool. And that was terrible. We only ended up winning 44 games. We fell all the way off, so maybe I should have kept Norm Nixon. Not worried about Jack Sikma. So you can see Akeem wins MVP. Steph Rookie of the Year, shooting 40% from 3. And look at that, he actually went to the Warriors. That's beautiful. Even in this universe, he can't get away. Jerome Kersey. Akeem wins MVP and Depoy. So now all he has to do is win Finals MVP. They won 69 games. I don't understand why they're so good. That seems kind of unfair. Mike, you can see he's All-NBA first team. His scoring has gone down, but he's getting 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, and he's hitting 43% of his threes. All right, we fell to the 6 seed. We were close for the 3 seed. We might have even been the 3 seed at one point, which is ridiculous. So I guess that just shows me I should have kept the fit with Norm as our point guard. But John was good. He gave us 8.5 assists. We saw Mike's numbers. George Gervin, 19 on 50% shooting. Still Jack Sikma, 15. Ralph, about 18, 11, and 2. Still really good. 10 there from John. We saw Drew's numbers. They fell off a little bit because he lost some of his playing time. We'll just let 2K handle that. So we have the Lakers in round 1, who aren't what they used to be, but they're still very good. So it might even be worth putting Jordan on Magic. So I might go ahead and do that. Game 1, let's just see. I mean, we haven't gotten out of round 1 in this whole episode. So this might have been a failure of a rebuild. We do win a game there, though, which is nice. Michael with 37, 7, 2, and 4. Can we go up 2-1? No, of course not. They do it. And let's see if we tie it up or we're getting knocked out. And we lose in 4. Michael has 42. So hopefully, for this team's sake, we're moving out of here. But hopefully, Jordan takes that step. And Portland with Hakeem actually does it. Hakeem, he wins Finals MVP, Depoy, and regular season MVP in the same season. That's ridiculous. All right, top 3 picks done by weighted draw. Some rebranding changes. All right, man. So we'll go all the way up to the draft. And just before we end this episode off, that was quite disappointing, but we did leave this team with Michael Jordan, 35-year-old George Gervin. That one might have been a little bit too far considering his age, but I really thought we had a chance to win it all. Ralph Sampson is still 27. Maybe we should have moved him. Jack Sikma's old as well. So they do have a little mix of some youth as well as some aging veterans they have to make decisions on. They can move them or see if they can go one more year and win it all. Drew's only 20 still, so they still have him there. But they do still have a young-ish big 3. I mean, Ralph's getting up there in age, but he's still relatively young. But if we go down to the worst teams in the league, so the Spurs are here with Muggsy. We did give them Muggsy and DeMars there, so that's fun. They also have Scottie Pippen, so this is definitely, that's a young big 3 there. This is an interesting team to look at, so I'll add Spurs to the options for next episode. Supersonics, obviously, we made the trade with. They now have Norm Nixon, who wasn't even starting. Blake Griffin they do have, and Reggie Miller. So Seattle's a good choice. And then the Hawks, who weren't as bad, but they have Kenny, Harden, Dominique, So they were going to be an option for the first episode too. So you guys let me know it's going to be the Hawks, the Spurs, or the Supersonics for next episode. But obviously we will still check to see what this team does in the offseason and their progression, and we'll keep an eye on them as we go. That is a very solid team, man. It just sucks that I guess Jordan's not going to have his second 90, but he basically has 2 more 90s next to him, almost 3. So this team really, I feel like, should have been better than what it did. I guess we just got unlucky with the Lakers, and now the Blazers, who I really don't understand, right? Because I mean, they have a 94, they have a 93, 86. I guess it's having 2 mid-90s, which is the difference. And it sucks. I guess we chose to keep Ralph knowing he probably wouldn't reach a 90. That's okay, man. Nevertheless, I still had fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed as well. I did have fun recording that. Unfortunately, we couldn't do a lot, which sucks, but we will keep an eye on this team in the future. So if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Would love to have a chat. Just let me know if you prefer the Sonics, the Spurs, or the Hawks for next episode. I'll put up a poll as well. Well, with that said, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.